Welcome back to Movie Masters. This is your host Carl, and I'm coming to you live from my new home in Berlin. And actually, there will be another filmmaker joining the show shortly, but today we're going to talk about these cameras in front of me. What are they? Well, that's every Sony camera that's come out so far. At least in the A series, not including the cinema line. There is the FX30, which is the start of the cinema line, but then there is the FX6 and the FX9, and then there's the Venice, and we can go on and on. There are a lot of Sony cameras, but not a lot of people compare, look, these ones from years ago. Now I'm gonna talk to you a bit about each one, why you might buy them, why you might not buy them, are they still useful? So look, we're gonna start with a little one over here. This is the Sony A5000. This came out quite a long time ago, but it is one of the first mirrorless cameras. And this thing is tiny. It literally will fit in most people's jacket pockets. And the beauty is, every single Alpha series camera all uses the same E mount, so I can use all my lenses on all my cameras. Now, there's one very interesting thing about the A5000, which stands out from the other three models right here in front of me. So look, I've got the A6300, the original A7, the A7C, and then look, the FX30. Now, what these three models don't have that this camera does, and this camera does, is a little toggle zoom button. So when I hold down this button, it actually zooms in like the image or the video. Now, I know you can have focus magnifier buttons on each of these cameras, or you can manually zoom, but to actually have the zoom little toggle is so useful. And I don't know why they didn't put it on any of these other models until now, but I will say, look, it is a pretty old camera now. I'm not really sure why you might buy this. Maybe if you wanted to go on holiday, it's great for point and shoot. As I said, it's very tiny. You could get a pancake lens, and then that's probably going to be one of the smallest mirrorless cameras that are available. It does have a nice flip up screen, which for vlogging is super useful. But look, as I said, it's old, so it only does 1080. But look, I still kept it. And as I said, it's a great little camera for like, if you want to take holiday snaps. It's not in any means a professional camera, but look, there it is. That's the A5000. There was also another model, the A5100, just like the 6000 series. There's the A6000, the 6300, 400, 500, and so on. Anyway, enough about the A5000. I'm going to move on to the A6300. So, as I mentioned before, there is an A6000. Then the main difference between the A6000 and the A6300 series, 300, 400, 500, is this one does 4K. And it was one of the first mirrorless cameras to do 4K. And it does make me wonder, right? So a camera like this, the A7C, which only came out in 2021, and this, I believe, 2016. This shoots 4K, 30 frames. This shoots 4K in 30 frames, right? But there's years apart. So like, you could go online if you want. If you want to pick up a cheap camera, you could probably find these for a couple of $100, you know? And the A6300 is still a great camera. The only thing I'll say that I don't like about it, on the A6300, it has a tilting screen, but it doesn't fold up, doesn't slide out, just tilts out. And for me, that's a little annoying. Obviously, when you go up to the A7, it's got the big viewfinder. This does have a smaller viewfinder in the corner here. But I still think it's a great camera. I use this as, I wouldn't say my B-roll. This is my B-roll camera. This is my C-roll camera, if you want to call it that. No, so like if I'm filming a live band setup and I want three cameras and three cameras that shoot 4K, well, this will be my other camera. Now, it only can shoot up to 30 minutes at 4K, and I have noticed that I often get overheating problems when using this camera for long periods of time. But I will mention, before I was living in Australia in Cairns, which is 30 degrees every day. It's very hot. Anyway, now in which order should I put these? Because the A7 now, this is a full frame camera, right? But the A7 only did 1080, so this can't shoot 4K, but this can. So, you know, what's better? Look, it comes again, you know, do you want to shoot low light or not? And this does 4K, this doesn't. I'm not really sure why anyone would buy the original model anymore. If you want to do photography, it's a very great camera. But I'm all about film, and this is called Movie Masters, so we're talking about video. I've shot some great videos with this. If you want to check out one of the videos, which I didn't even use a gimbal, everything is handheld, by an artist called Nada Rahi, Alone on the Moon, and we filmed that in Bali, and we used this exact camera I'm holding in my hand. So if you'd like to see some quality footage of what this can do, take a look at that video. Now let's move on. The A7C. For such a long time, this was one of my favorite cameras. It still is. It's my B-roll camera, and it shoots 4K, and it shoots 4K very well. It has amazing low light. It is full frame. As I mentioned in one of my other videos, it does do a better low light job than the FX30. The main difference is, as you can see, it's only got the smaller viewfinder. So it's a more compact version of the A7 series. You would put it just above the A7 Mark III, then the A7 Mark IV came out. And we'll move on. So just recently, obviously the camera that everyone's talking about, the Cinema Line FX30. Now this is my new favorite camera. It is a crop sensor, so much like, let's just call it its little brother, the a6300. It's packed full of a lot of great features, but if you want the full frame, you've got to go the FX3. But there is a $3,000 price difference, at least in Australian dollars. So you can pick up this for about $3,000, or you can pick up the FX3 for $6,000. And the main difference being, well, the FX3 is full frame, so you get like the beautiful low light capabilities of what the A7 does, but with the ability to shoot 120 frames a second in 4K. Now, have you seen all these together before? What a beautiful line of cameras. As you can tell, I am a Sony fanatic. I'd really like to hear your opinions on these cameras. Do you still own one of these? And why? What do you use it for? I'd really like to know. Or, you know, are you still happy with your A6300? Another thing I will mention is the stabilization. So neither of these three models have stabilization. They do have the steady shot, but they don't have anything like these two models, the gyroscopic data stabilization. And like I've said in my previous videos, that is a game changer. It's like having a gimbal, but without having a gimbal. When you are moving, it records the gyroscopic data, and then you take it into the program Catalyst Browse or Catalyst Prepare. You can get it download from the Sony website. One of the versions is free. And the difference between those two programs is you can batch export all your videos at once, or the free version you can only do one at a time. So look, it depends, you know, how much you want to stabilize, how long you want to spend doing that kind of thing. Obviously, you know, these two are going to be the better cameras. But you know, if you're on a budget, you know, check out these. I've also filmed many videos with this. So if you go to my website, music-records.com.au, you can see a whole bunch of videos that I filmed with this. And it can produce some really amazing content. Yeah, anyway, thanks for watching this episode on the Sony A7 series. I can't wait to see what comes out next.